Many years ago, I prayed to God and I said, God, show me what I can do. Show me how I can be of service to the world, and not just a particular sect of people. I'm not dedicated to just helping men of a certain religion or certain spiritual practice. I just want to leave humanity better than when I came to this planet. And he answered me, and he answered me in one word, S3X. He said, understand this energy, understand this power, understand how this energy is the knot in which gets men and women to either degrade themselves or to elevate themselves. When you understand this and experience it, you will be able to share with the world how this energy can transform not only individual lives, but can transform nations and the planet. And I want to share with you what I learned in this video. Hi, my name is Nakula, and I help men master their S3X energy so that we can expand human consciousness, so you can expand your consciousness and become a powerhouse both in and outside the bedroom. Many people think I'm anti-S3X. I'm not. I'm neither pro or anti-S3X. What I am is understanding this power. And I put together a free program called the Free S3X Transmutation Guide. You can go to the link in the description and take that free program as a journey or as a starting point to your journey to mastering your own S3X energy. Now, when I prayed to God, I really didn't expect an answer, because how many of us have prayed to God and be like, hello? Hello, is anybody listening? But I actually heard it very clearly. S3X. You want something that can impact every human being on this planet? Talk about S3X. Especially now in this age. Why is it so important that we have this discussion, that we bring up this topic now? Because look at what's happening in our world. S3X is being distorted. I just saw a picture of the Canadian Minister of Finance at a pride parade wearing a strap on. Now, some people might be like, oh, you're homophobic, or you're anti-trans, or you're anti... I'm not. I'm just wondering what one of the leaders of our nation is doing wearing a strap on, and what message does that send to young women and to young men? There's an implication that happens when we introduce S3X concepts and ideas at such a young age. What is illicit materials found online? I'm trying to use all the words not to get caught on the algorithm. What is this illicit material? How does it affect your psychology? How does it affect your upbringing? What kind of human beings do we produce when we become an overly promiscuous society? I know for myself, it causes pain, it causes heartbreak. I know for myself, it takes us away from our true values, our consciousness, our soul, and it traps us in our body and the bodily needs, and we become impulsive. And how can we be productive? How can we bring loving relationships and family life and the real meanings of life? I mean, think about it. When you're on your deathbed, what are you going to look back at your life and think, yeah, I banged a lot of women. Great legacy. But how many men, how many young boys, and now women are getting caught up in this? And I'm not saying it because I'm a holy man and I spent my life in the temple or some nonsense like this. Not that it's nonsense to be in the temple. No, I grew up in the Matrix like you. I'm a Matrix baby. You know, 50 Cent, Tupac Shakur were my heroes before my heroes became different types of men of different quality, men of spirit, men of God. Now, what's really interesting is I've actually been listening to a bunch of 50 Cent videos and interviews, because he's talking about success and the things he learned from hustling on the streets to now being a big business mogul and television mogul and producer, and realizing most of it was entertainment. Yeah, his story is true, but he didn't do drugs. He didn't drink alcohol. Even to this day, he says when he goes around the club and everybody's drinking alcohol, he's got ginger ale in his glass. They asked him, said, did you, how much drugs do you do? And he's like, I don't do drugs. He's like, rather than spending $5 on a bag of dope, he's like, I put that in my pocket. It's really interesting though, but as a young man coming up, I believed everything I saw just because television said it, not consciously, but that's the programming that's going in our mind. You see, you have to understand that you are being programmed from a young age, and now our own leaders, the leaders of nations, not just in my country here, but all around the world, are exploiting the energy of S3X for their own gain. This is why it's so important this mission moves forward. And this mission isn't just about me. If you're resonating with this channel, if you know what I'm saying to be true, if you feel within your soul, yes, I know what you mean, I know what you're talking about, I know what you're getting at, make sure you jump on my schedule and book some time with me. I want to connect with you. I'm training leaders in this mission through the Powerhouse Man training so that they can build businesses, that they could build lifestyles that show what a disciplined man is. You know, I look up to men like Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, who talked about austerity, sacrifice, not chasing worldly pleasures, and the impact that he's made even to this day, thousands of years later. As God revealed to me this aspect of himself, S3X energy, he said this energy is actually the esoteric meaning behind most of the major religions and stories. How we, in the Bible, how it talks about how we fall from grace. What makes us fall from grace? Lust. In the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, I am S3X life done in religious principle. So you can see that God himself is not against S3X. It's a function of life. You have to eat, you have to sleep. But when this energy is misused, it becomes the downfall and the detriment of society. Look at the Roman Empire. When they began to engage in behaviors that are very reflective of the behaviors going on today, everybody becomes fat, everybody becomes pleasure-seeking, people live selfishly. We're no longer concerned with production. We're no longer concerned with growing our food. We've given all of that to major companies and corporations, which then exploit us for profit. And we're too distracted by entertaining ourselves, chasing women. The whole society begins to degrade. Men no longer become strong in protecting women, no longer become strong in their values. What kind of father figures and male figures then do we have for the young boys growing up? What do they believe a man should be? You see, by understanding this energy, what he shared with me is that you can make the biggest difference on the planet right now. Because right now, nations are falling, nations are becoming weak, because they're misusing this energy. And there are very evil people on this planet, and I hate to use the word evil, I really don't like it, but I truly, after researching and learning and being involved with politics and being involved with so many different businesses and movements, there are evil-minded people who are completely atheistic, who wish to rule the world, not free it. They wish to enslave it for their own gain. They wish to diminish the consciousness of humanity, to lower human consciousness back to its animal state. And by doing this, control the movement of humanity. Just like we can control the movement of animals. It's not that difficult to control the movement of animals because animals are completely controlled by their senses. So therefore, they have no conscious ability to make decisions outside of the bodily functions of life. But you are more than an animal. You are a human being, and more than a human being, you are a spirit, an energy that is directly connected to the divine. You have a direct connection, and the vehicle for that connection is this human body. And once you become in tune with it, in touch with it, even just a little bit, you become free from this matrix. You can even take over the matrix and use it for good. You see, I'm not against money, and I'm not against wealth, and I'm not against S3X, and I'm not against technology or AI or anything, but I am for using it in a conscious way to better humanity, to better our lives, and so that we can free ourselves from the greed and the corruption and the lusty leaders who are enslaving humanity. They're starting wars. They're bombing people. They're diminishing men. They're breaking the family core so that they can move us and manipulate us just like we do to the animals. They see us nothing more than numbers on a spreadsheet. If you understand and resonate what I'm saying, I'm asking you to hear the call of a new type of revolution. And it's a S3X revolution. It's a revolution of consciousness. And it's not the hippie revolution of S3X where it's free love and everybody's just doing each other and that's freedom and that's empowerment. It's the exact opposite. It's disempowerment because it lowers consciousness. So what God revealed to me and what he shared with me and what he'd like me to share with you and the world and for those who hearts and ears are open is that by one, understanding this energy, two, cultivating it, not wasting it, and three, by transmuting it, you can grow not only closer to God himself, to have a personal relationship with God, but you will reverse the destruction that's happening within our society. We'll be able to create prosperous businesses and economics that's fair. We'll be able to create strong family life. We'll be able to shift the values from consumerism to neighborly love, connection, and community. There's nothing wrong with money, wealth, or purchasing things. There's nothing wrong with technology or social media, and there's nothing wrong around S3X in its natural, purest form. But when we distort those values, and that's being done on purpose, then we become trapped in this matrix in which we feel all of our value is outside of ourselves. How many women we sleep with, that's our value. What brand name of our clothes, that's our value. What neighborhood we live in, that's our value. What if our value was, what kind of person am I? Am I a person of character, integrity? What if I valued my family? What if I valued my children? What if I valued my money as a vehicle to doing good, to giving away, to giving to charity, to helping others, to empowering movements, to hiring and creating economic prosperity? What if I lived by those values? Well, I promise you, as a man who has worked very hard, and it is a difficult journey, and that's why I've had tremendous amounts of mentors and coaches and spiritual teachers and read books, and to this day continue to do that, and I'm committed to doing that all the way up till I leave this body, because this world is a world of temptation, and without actually actively trying to change who you are, trying to transform. And not, when I say change, maybe change is not the best word, but unleash your real self. Because if you look at kids, you see that they're cool, they're free. At some point or another, mainly when your hormones kicked in and your S3X energy started taking over, you changed. You went from innocence to lust base. And now we have to I don't know if you guys know that song, Enigma, Return to Innocence. I love that song. If you don't know it, check it out. Listen to the words of the song. It's so beautiful. I can't help it. I get teary-eyed when I listen to it. I listen to it all the time because there's just this idea of being innocent that's so freeing. And that's really how we free ourselves from this matrix. We have to actually return to innocence. We have to return back to our heart, back to leading life with our heart, not with our balls, not with our head. Our head is great. It can design so many great things, and when we can transfer our S3X energy into our head, we can empower so many great thoughts and so many great ideas, and we can become inventors and artists and business people and leaders at the highest level. But when we lead with our balls, we're no different than a gorilla. And we will do nothing but survive. We'll be nothing but pleasure-seeking animals, and we'll be totally controlled by the consumeristic, materialistic culture. When we lead completely with our head, we will live completely in logic, and we'll get caught in our head, And we'll give ourselves so much worry and anxiety. How many people just live in their head and replay stuff in their head and they cause themselves so much destruction because they misuse their head, because the head is a creative force. So when you're worried all the time, you're creating disease in your body. You're creating your own misery. 90 to 95% of your own misery is caused by the misuse of thoughts. But when we live in our heart, the seat of the soul, we alchemize those two energies. They converge into one. We merge the lower and the upper, matter and spirit, male and female. In the heart is where it happens. And that emanates from us, creating a healthy, balanced, prosperous, harmonious human being. And when we create healthy, happy, prosperous, harmonious human beings, we'll create families that reflect that, communities that reflect that, and nations that reflect that. So go join me in this journey. Start with the free S3X Transmutation Guide if you want to learn more. And if you're ready to take the next step, if you're serious, you're at a point where you're like, I'm ready. I am ready for transformation. I am ready to be the leader that God created me to be. Then go book some time on my schedule. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell button to get notified so you never miss a video. And me and you will continue this mission together.